Derek DeBoer.
And I'm Brooke DeBoer. And these are our kids, Paige, Haylee, and Ryann. This is the Fastlife. I created it. Derek races, and I film. We are a family who live our dreams.
By the time the race is done and you've put in all that effort and the physical effort of the actual race itself, I think everybody's kind of beat in a way, but also the adrenaline is going, you've just completed this huge thing, and everybody kind of likes to let their hair down. I remember going back to the hotel and just sitting in the hot tub and reflecting on what an amazing experience it was, and I probably could have fallen asleep for 20 hours at that point. But what you do is you go out in downtown Daytona, and there's so much camaraderie and people high-fiving and, you know, congratulating the team that won. And yeah, sometimes it probably gets a little bit out of control. Everybody was having a pretty good time.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 2017 GT3 winner, Derek DeBoer.
And I think James thought he was a fortune teller maybe or something that night. I do recall him predicting our 2017 win. And I'm hoping he was just a year off, because I feel like there was an unplanned gap in my racing year. So maybe his fortune telling just missed that gap, and he was really just talking about 2018.
Out of all the amateurs I have ever worked with, for GT3, 4, GS, or any of the other categories, nobody has come into a GTD car like Derek ever before. Late on the laps, times, consistency, all of that. In a matter of, I don't know, a couple of free practices. That has to be evaluated at some point.
One of my co-drivers, James Davison, joined us for the family portion of our trip. We always try to plan something fun for the kids, either before or after a race, and I found it needs to be after, because my brain is 100% race focused before.
For this trip, we went to Universal Studios after the races were over.
I remember James and I were like still in race mode, you know, we were apexing the turns and the lines and remembering things that happened in the race, and we did get a funny moment to relax on the carousel, and I'm sure Brooke has some embarrassing footage of it.
Your place is totally stocked, you got food, the chef actually offered, if you want, he'll actually come over and cook for you guys if you guys want that.
Oh,
So,
awesome. No, I mean, no worries probably. I'm sure protocol will be I'm sure my parents and the kids and Brooke or something will be happy to just walk down to the clubhouse or whatever. I don't think they'll need them to come up there, but that's a super nice offer.
so I'm trying to make it as comfortable as possible, man.
You're really good at that. You got that part down. Everything with my sponsor was going really smoothly, you know, going into Daytona even. And I had taken a special gift and wanted to present them and let them know how much I appreciate, you know, the opportunity. And at that point in time, there wasn't really any writing on the wall other than just maybe that little voice in the back of your head that said, is all of this too good to be true?
So Haylee, tell me about your first U14 race.
Well, I got first. My skis were actually tuned this time, so I think I did really good.
Show us that gold medal, kiddo.
I can't really.
Super proud you rock. Haylee, come get these and take them in, please. Really good job today.
Thank you.
You ripped. What do you need for tomorrow?
Slalom skis and the poles and a bag.
Okay, we'll wax them up good and fast, just like today's skis.
Okay.
This is Paige's pile of garbage from her car that was on my workbench. Trying to get skis done, and this, I mean literally, is that like 2 months worth? One of them's a lunch bag, frightened to open it. Oh. There's a salad in there. Best by January 11th. Hasty. I'm not touching that pile. Maybe the skis survived today. They were fast. She said she loved her edges. Last week, at the end of the training day, the coach basically threw the 3 girls off the mountain and said, your guys' edges are crap. Go home, tune your skis, and come back next week and ready to ski. So we spent some time last night getting things ready. And Haylee said they were the best that they've been. She won a gold medal, so they must have worked. So we're gonna do the same thing tonight that we did last night to her GS skis, to her slalom skis. Because I've got tons of extra time on my hands.
I was so happy for Derek. All of his dreams seemed to be coming true. But there was a gut feeling that something wasn't right. I kept asking Derek, are you sure these offers are legitimate? Do you know where the money is coming from? In my life, nothing had ever come that easy. The other parts of our lives didn't stop either. The kids had activities, and our family just needed the basics to function, and we were pouring time into the racing. Derek had phone calls with his sponsor, we had travel to plan, ski races to attend. Life was busy.
Well, I'm 3 days away from leaving for Coda for the season opener, and have not been able to fulfill the financial commitments to the team yet. So, a little nervous about that. Hugely stressed out, to be honest. And here's an email from an angry customer that didn't like their experience on the car lot.
Derek became more stressed as he worried about when the sponsor would pay the team. Daytona still hadn't been paid for.
What?
And we were headed to the Circuit of the Americas for the next race in a couple days.
Do the same thing the Canyon does.
What's that?
When see parks, they
Tweet.
talk really loud.
I think they're just hungry. They're asking somebody to go get them some seed and some water.
I'll go and do that.
Cool, it worked. So I need to get this money thing figured out before Monday's here. And I have a vague email here from him to Kevin and Deborah. It all just makes me nervous. I need that to be 100% solid to feel very good about all this. We're probably both extremely stressed out.
I want a trail so we know what's going on. She kept on saying, no, I didn't get the wire, didn't get the wire, didn't get the wire. And I'm like, dude, I sent you the wire. Am I saying that they're doing anything? No, I'm not saying they're doing anything, but I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
The kids found ways to grab time with Derek while he dealt with all of the race details. Simulator time was one thing he could control that could potentially have a positive impact on his upcoming race.
How's church?
It was good.
Sorry I missed it again.
Yeah, well, actually your article from Daytona was hanging on the bulletin board today.
Very cool.
A bunch of the ladies were asking about your racing today.
Good to have a good church following. That's awesome. Should probably try to come there sometime.
Kind of nice. Can I heat up my spaghetti now?
Yeah.
On top of this being the first race of Derek's dream come true race season, it was also his 40th birthday weekend. His sponsor had set us up in a beautiful casita at the University of Texas Golf Club.
Can I please have the Wi-Fi?
I do not
That's the
know
only way I
about the
can
kids.
test.
I don't know what it is.
Can you help me find it, please?
You guys got it, I think, when you
What it is?
checked in, right?
Mom,
This
you
is
got
all
the
the stuff
Wi-Fi,
that
right?
Mom put in my suitcase.
Is this the panic that is happening because you haven't been attached to your phone
Yeah,
for
I
6 to 7 hours?
Yeah, I want to see my friends. So, do they give you the Wi-Fi?
It is.
Which casita is this? 2B? Stop, I just want the Wi-Fi. Stop. Give me the Wi-Fi.
Did you wish your dad a happy birthday
I
yet?
did. I was the first one to wish him a happy birthday when he came here. Mom, can you please help me with the Wi-Fi?
Maybe we could get Apple to sponsor us. I'm getting some good shots with the Apple.
That'd be cool.
Mom, please help me.
Okay, I gotta go.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Have fun.
Where are you? Don't look at the camera. Where are you going?
I already told you I have to go down to the clubhouse to finalize the
Tell
contract.
Paige. We were getting settled. At least as settled as we could be with a race coming that hadn't been paid for.
Today is March 4th, my 40th birthday. And I get to be at Austin for the opening round of the Pirelli World Challenge. Spent today with my partner in this racing project, trying to get things dialed in and proper with the team. Sponsorship money hasn't come in as quick as it was supposed to, so we kind of showed up this weekend without the funding to fulfill our commitments. And it's been a huge amount of stress for not just both of us, but for Kevin and Deborah and the team as well. Saying I've never seen something so unclear. It seems like normally with a wire transfer you can track it, know where it went and where it came from and have some proof, but none of the banks have been able to sort it out.
My dad's sponsor was making me really nervous, and him racing also made me nervous just because at that time I was worried that the car wasn't safe enough or something. So I got really, really nervous about that when we got to the racetrack the first day.
We did our best to put the stress behind us so he could focus on the driving. I already worry about safety and was well aware of the heavy burden Derek was carrying into this race weekend.
I saw a 17.9.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely 17s because on 2 of the 18s I got up by, one of them I got up by the Camaro, and then one of them I accidentally caught 5th gear coming through the sweepers at the end. So.
Okay. Okay, not a big deal. Belts were good?
Belts were great, belts stayed.
Belts were good?
Car bit a ton better. I mean, turn in was great, it was balanced.
Oh,
I don't think I'd change a thing.
So yeah, we're just gonna go roll across our tech skills, make sure we're good on our ride height.
Okay.
And then if we're good, we're gonna leave it.
I would like to look at straightaway speeds between my car and Chris's car.
Okay.
But
Maybe take a little wing out of it to improve that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that we need to. I'm sure other teams are still probably holding some of their cards, but we can go by anybody on the
That's
straight.
probably one of the best straightaway speeds we can do.
Yeah.
And as long as we aren't pushing, if we want to loosen up the rear a little bit so that it's not so planted in the corners, that would also be
I don't think I would, if anything, with that extra bite we have in the nose, that the rear wants to get a little bit happy, but it's manageable now.
Sweet.
So the changes we made definitely were in the right direction. The car was a lot easier to drive, and with the times that we had, unofficially, it looks like we're either P3 or P4, so that puts us in the hunt. I mean, you never know what cards people are still holding up their sleeves, but it feels good.
What's next?
Hopefully a little bit of relaxing time. There might still be some business to be done. We've got some sponsorship stuff that's still a little unclear. So got to go sit down with the team owner and sort that stuff out and get some lunch, get ready for 2 o'clock.
Good session. Got Kevin on the radio with me. He made a call to put some new tires on. That sure saved that session because it was pretty awful without them. The car was all over the place. New tires shaved 3.5 seconds off.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here.
I want to thank everybody. This is definitely the biggest unity we've had ever. We have class champions around the world here today, multi-champions, and obviously defending champion Johnny L.
When I look around the room, it truly is some of the deepest driving talent in the world. It's pretty impressive. There are all victories in this room and champions, and it's impressive. I'd like to say that I won't have to do anything this year, because obviously the experience and the talent in this room should keep all of you clean and out of trouble. Right? Yeah. Here's the deal. I mean, I look at it and I go, if you guys simply race the other cars the way that you want to be raced, there won't be any problems. That's going to be an issue from time to time, but you guys need to have the same respect for each other that I have for the group that's sitting here. You know, it's easy to say and it's easy to get lulled into this false sense of security that we're going to go have fun on the race weekend, but the fact of the matter is, you wear helmets that cost thousands of dollars and HOMS devices and 5-point belts and fire extinguishers and 3-layer Nomex suits because this is dangerous. And literally by the end of the season, one of you may not be sitting in this room. So when you think about the respect that you need to have for each other, that's what I look at. And you guys need to have that respect. And when you're out there racing each other on the racetrack, like I said, if you'll race each other the way that you want to be raced, we really won't have any problems.
Would have been better if you were at that meeting, Scott. I had to sit there and listen to Brian Till with my wife sitting next to me tell us all that there's a good chance that one of us won't be sitting here still at the end of the year. That's the kind of stuff she doesn't need to hear.
Did you ever hear about that guy? He was doing some kind of shady deal where he was like a loan shark, and I saw 60 Minutes or something on it, and they were talking about, well, yeah, he charges like 200% on loaning this money, right. And he does it through like some sort of Indian tribe, so that way it's all, you know, it's okay to do it. Different rules. Right. And oh no. And then they follow him to the racetrack, and he's like, and this is what he's doing with all the money. And he had a P car, you know, spending millions of dollars. You should have seen the setup that he had. And it was like, yeah. But he went away.
People get creative to fund this world, unfortunately. It's bitten lots of people.
Yeah.
Lots of old racing guys probably in jail.
We had a guy that was racing at Skip Barber that robbed convenience stores every time he would go to a race weekend. Are you kidding me? Swear to God. And the FBI finally figured it out because he would take his OMP.
It wasn't Ollie, was it? I've never been able to get a hold of him after Skip Barber.
He had his OMP balaclava, and he'd go into a convenience store, rob them, and bring the cash to the racetrack and pay for his weekend.
Oh my gosh. I'll never know where I'm going with this OMP balaclava on.
They figured it out. Yeah. The FBI figured it out. They were like, OMP, what is that? And they researched it, and then they figured out the Skip Barber schedule, and they put 2 and 2 together. They came to the weekend and hauled them off.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Well, that was a good conversation. That lightened up the morning a little bit.
Well, in Texas, actually, this is kind of a funny story now that I look back on it. So my dad was really stressed out about sponsorships and stuff, and I got really nervous about his racing, and then I got nervous about some other stuff. Like, I used to think that I would like choke every time I ate something, so I got really, really sick because to my stomach, like about him racing and stuff. And I wouldn't eat anything, so my mom actually had to go and get me like protein drinks, and that was all I would ever like have.
I feel like I'm nervous that I might like miss you too.
Okay.
Because I didn't see you yesterday. Maybe I can, like, call you after breakfast.
I think that would be good.
I'm feeling good. If I'm not feeling good, I'll call you after breakfast.
Okay, that sounds good. I walked out on the grid for qualifying with a giant pit in my stomach. All of my intuition alarm bells were going off, and my kids were struggling too. All I could do was pray.